What makes a good gaming desk? Well, pretty much something like this. It's nice and big, it looks good, it has colorful lights. You can put your drink on it and you can adjust the height. What more could you ask for? Well, of course you need a lot more than that, because a desk is only good if it's usable, durable, and if you can use it for a long time, especially since a gaming desk like this isn't exactly cheap. Although, I have to add that in recent years, the price of gaming desks and adjustable height office desks in general has dropped to an all-time low. So this desk isn't too expensive either. It just costs a lot compared to a normal desk. Before I tell you the price, before I tell you what it can do, first we'll unbox it, then comes the specifications, and then my experiences and my opinion on this whole thing. So unboxing and assembly. Obviously, we get a big box since the tabletop has to fit inside. I have received a gaming desk before where the tabletop was split in the middle, so it could be assembled from two pieces and fit into a smaller box. But ACGAM didn't do that. Thankfully, they put the tabletop in the box in one piece. So we get a nice big box. Since this is a motorized desk, it needs a pretty strong frame, so the package wasn't light and it consisted of quite a few parts. Unlike previous ACGAM desks, this one had a lot of different types of screws. But luckily, we get a very good manual with very good pictures, which you can use to assemble the desk. This basically means that for every step you get a diagram. The diagram shows which screw you need, and the manufacturer puts the screws in small letter-coded bags. So you can just go through the bags in order and assemble the desk relatively quickly. I have to admit, I did manage to mess up a bit. The middle part that holds the legs, I put it on backwards. Pay attention when you're assembling it. The motor needs to be on the same side as the control panel. The assembly itself, including having to take it apart again, took me about 45 minutes. But if you're a bit more skilled and pay attention, you can assemble it in half an hour, or even faster if two of you are doing it, since it's not that many screws to put in. Okay, that's about it for the assembly. So what does the desk look like? It's a completely standard height-adjustable desk. This means that from the side, you get a T-profile. So the base is a T-shape, there are two columns, and on top of the columns is the tabletop itself. So far, I think it's not complicated. What you need to know about this desk, I'll tell you its model name, but I have to use my notes for this because I can't remember it. So it's the JSD5-A102. That's the easy to remember name for this ACGAM desk. So if you buy this desk, you can expect the following. We're talking about a single motor desk. The motor is here on this side under the tabletop. A steel rod connects it to the other leg. The motor turns the steel rod and the rod turns the mechanism that lifts the desk. Here, the motor turns the mechanism so both sides will rise at the same time. A single motor desk is a weaker design than a two-motor desk, and it can also hold less weight. So compared to the ACGAM desks I've had before, its load capacity isn't 120 but only 70 kilograms. But let's be honest, 70 kilograms should be enough for everything, since you can put a smaller gaming PC, a computer case, two monitors, or even a printer on it, and it still won't be 70 kilograms. Obviously, you're not going to sit on it when you want to raise it. At least I hope not. So, in principle, 70 kilograms should be more than enough. And, well, it really is. In operation, you don't really notice much of a difference between the single and dual motor desks. The single motor desk might move a little slower than the dual motor one, but the difference isn't significant. The sound is a little different because with the dual motor one, you mostly just hear the motor's sound. With this desk, when you move it, there's a very slight buzzing sound. But it's not annoying, it's not loud, it's not the kind of thing that would bother anyone. It's simply different from a dual motor one. Another way it differs from the other motorized desks I've had is that its size is a bit different. The width is the same, 140, but their other desks have a 60 centimeter tabletop. And that doesn't mean it's the maximum you can put on those frames, but rather the factory tabletop size. You can put a larger one, a 160 by 80, on those frames. On this one, you really can't put anything other than the factory tabletop, and of course there's a reason for that. So the width is 140 centimeters, and the depth is around 70 centimeters, compared to the other desks, 60 centimeters. But I have to point out that this 70 centimeters isn't really fully usable in the same way as on the 60 centimeter desk, because this desk has a flip-up section here at the front, and under this flip-up section there are cable channels, or not really cable channels, I'd rather say it's a kind of cable holding tray. And this is very good because, you know, with a gaming PC or a computer setup, you have tons of cables, power strips, extension cords, USB hubs, and other things that are either lying on the desk or under it, constantly getting tangled and knotted up. With this desk, you won't have that problem because you can lay the cables in these trays that are inside here. The extension cord fits, the power strip fits, everything fits in there. So there won't really be too many cables on the floor. And that bundle of cables that goes down to the floor, you can tie it together with a cable tie or anything else. So it'll be nice and tidy under the desk. You can vacuum under it, for example, to name one thing. And for that, it definitely deserves a big thumbs up. Since this is a gaming desk, the finish is obviously different too. Normal desks are either white or have some kind of wood pattern. This desk has a carbon fiber pattern, and well, I have a desk that has this kind of carbon fiber pattern, and it has been serving me for years without any defects, damage, or anything, so it's actually not a bad thing. The desk also has an IPX4 water resistance rating, which means it's protected against splashing and spilled water, which is great because the worktop is made of particle board and water wouldn't do it any good. So if you spill water, cola, soda, or anything on it, you can simply wipe it off with one motion and it won't soak through. What's special about this desk? Well, there are actually a few things that I really like. The lights, well, you can be the judge of that. I'm not a huge fan of these RGB lights, although I will add that if they're not flashing but just shining in a single color, they can look really good. And it illuminates the wall behind the monitor really well. So I like it this way, but if it's flashing, then I don't like it. But then again, I'm not a gamer. What can this light strip do? Well, obviously there are these fixed colors. It's set to green now. You can adjust these lights with this remote control. The fixed colors are down here, and up here you can use these buttons to switch the light effects. I'll show you what's available. Red light, green light, blue, orange. There's a kind of magenta-like color, and we also have a white light. Let's stick with blue for now. If you don't want a constant light like this, then you can switch to the light effects. With the auto button, you can set it to auto mode. No surprise there. Auto mode means it continuously cycles through the light effects. If you want a fixed light effect, there's a way to do that too, because you can adjust the fixed effects with this M plus and minus. And well, there are, if I remember correctly, about 100 different light effects you can choose from. So you can choose whatever you like. These effects can be sped up and slowed down. There's a plus and minus button. And so you can get everything from very fast running lights to these slightly slow, dreamy, flashing lights. In other words, you can customize your desk just the way you want it. You can also adjust the brightness, of course, and all sorts of things. So you can control the desk with this remote control. What else do I like about it? Well, obviously I like that it's height adjustable. And as you can see, I'm standing next to the desk talking, but you can lower its height to 72 centimeters, and the maximum is 118 centimeters. So you can work comfortably up to a height of 2 meters, both sitting and standing. And the manufacturer says that a body height of about 150 centimeters is the minimum size they recommend for the desk. So if you're buying it for a child, you should calculate that the desk will be comfortable to use for someone over 150 centimeters tall. I really like that this desk finally has a USB port on the electronics. This is very good, of course, because you can plug in your phone to charge it. The only problem is that these lights you see here run on USB, and for them to work, you have to plug the cable into the USB port here on the side, and if you unplug it, this one here, then the lights don't work. So I think they could have worked on this a little more. They could have put an integrated connector on the power supply, and then you could have plugged this into it. That was left out. You'll only be able to properly use the USB port on the electronics if you power the lights not from this USB port, but from, say, your computer's USB port. This isn't very practical. You just have to live with it. Since this is a gaming desk, it has a headphone hook here on this side, and on this side there's also a cup holder on the desk. What I particularly like is that, because I've seen other gaming desks up close, different types, different brands, the cup holder was fixed. But on this desk, the cup holder can be rotated, which means you can turn it under the desk or open it out. And if you turn it in, it's not in the way, you won't bump into it, and you won't break it off. So this is another big thumbs up, a big plus, because it's a really simple solution, but it's still incredibly practical compared to the old stable solutions. And now for the part about what the desk is like. Well, I do have some criticism about it, and this criticism isn't primarily about the fact that it has a single motor, because the price of the desk reflects that it's a single motor desk, and I'll talk more about that later. My criticism is more about the fact that the ACGAM desks I've had before and the one I'm using now represented a completely different level of quality. And again, this is reflected in the price. The mechanics of this desk, the wall thickness of the metal frame, everything is smaller and lighter than on the office ACGAM desks. And this means that this desk, while stable, is not nearly as stable as the office desks. This doesn't mean that this one is bad. It just means that the desks I've had before and the one I'm using now are exceptionally good. So I've seen enough motorized desks in my life. I've tried enough motorized desks in my life. And I have to say that the ACGAM office motorized desks, at least in terms of their frame structure, definitely represent a premium category, while this one, the JSD5-A102, doesn't represent a premium category, but rather a strong mid-range category. As I said, the price reflects this. But what does this mean in practice? In practice, it means that the price of this ACGAM gaming desk, with everything included, the cup holder, the headphone hook, the LED strip, the remote control, the adjustable height, everything all in one, is just a tiny bit over 80,000 forints. Whereas, in contrast, the price of the office desks, if you get a very good coupon for them, starts at around 100 to 105,000 forints, including the desktop. And no matter how you look at it, that's a 20% difference or a 20,000 forint difference, which is definitely significant. So the conclusion, if you want a light-up gaming desk like this for yourself, go ahead and buy it, but know that it's roughly an upper mid-range desk with these features, this functionality, this level of stability, and this load capacity, because as I said, it can hold 70 kilograms. So if you want a better desk than this, and especially if you don't want a gaming desk, then you should definitely look towards the JS3 ACGAM desks, because then it's worth spending that extra 20,000 forints. With those desks, you also get a choice of colors, since the frame can be black or white, and you can buy a desktop for it in 3 different colors. And of course, if you already have a good desktop, you don't have to buy that either. Then for around 74 to 75,000 forints, you can buy a dual motor frame, and you can put any desktop on it that fits within the 160 by 80 size. So if you, your child, or anyone in the family wants a light-up carbon fiber looking gaming desk for themselves, then feel free to buy it. For 80,000 forints, you absolutely won't be disappointed. That's all for this video for now. I hope you liked it. If you did, please subscribe to my channel and watch these other 2 videos that are appearing next to me. One of them will be the video about the JS3 ACGAM desk. And of course, come back, because I'll be back soon with new test presentations and all sorts of topics. Until then, enjoy the autumn and watch the falling leaves. Bye.